Hello, welcome. Let us talk about some drugstore serum foundations. I've been trying a lot of base products. I should chill, but I can't stop myself. In any case, I have the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum in the shade 2 to 3 Light. And I have the Neutrogena Sensitive Skin Serum Foundation in the shade light/medium 02. These clearly make a lot of sense to kind of compare against each other. They're in a similar packaging. They offer a similar claims and definitely trying to cater to a similar market. So let's get into it. The L'Oreal True Match, it generally retails for probably about $5 more than the Neutrogena. I got mine for $15 and I got the Neutrogena one for I think maybe $12. The shades I have, real quickly, I find the L'Oreal one is quite deep for me, but it's a more neutral shade, at least compared to the lighter two options that they have. So, you know, worn sheerly out, I think it works fine for me. And the Neutrogena one, this shade works pretty well for me. It's like a hint peachy, but it's sheer enough that it looks like a pretty good match all over. And you can see both of them have a lot of luminosity, a lot of translucency, and I doubt that you can pick this up, but the L'Oreal one, even just right now going through, it feels a lot thinner to my fingers, and the Neutrogena one has a lot more juiciness, a lot more of that gel moisturizer body to the formula. But again, both sheer out very prettily. Okay, let's talk about their packaging, because I hate dropper packaging. Truly, I do. I wish this all came in like the Glossier skin tint, you know, with a little squeezy bottle. That's just so much more of a practical packaging for this kind of lightweight liquid fluid, which these both are. The L'Oreal one is actually cursed. They just took their typical foundation bottle, I think. You can see it's the same size as a normal one would be, and stuck this dropper mechanism, but this glass component doesn't have anything to catch the size of the product. So when you pull it out, it's all covered in this super liquidy product, and there's no way to stop it from getting all around the edges. It gets really, really messy. It works for me okay in terms of getting the product out, but it just feels so messy. That being said, it is glass, which does feel more luxe. The Neutrogena one, plastic, has that same dropper thing, but you see, this opening size is sized to the dropper mechanism better, so that it'll pull off some of the product from this stick thing, so it's not such a mess, because the product is coming out from the inside of the stick thing, right? I still hate the fact that it's dropper, because I just find this squeezing mechanism so inefficient. It gets dirty and off-white after a while, and the silicone tips are kind of hard to clean. I hate it. Who came up with this idea? Who thought that these were a good idea? In any case, let's talk about the formulations. L'Oreal True Match, this thing I love. It's probably my favorite formulation right now, and I'm so sad that it doesn't come in a better shade match for me. I'll show it just going on all over in one thin layer. It's fine, and I don't really mind too much that it's off, but it's definitely a bit deep. And once everything dries, I feel like it pulls a little bit more orange than when it first comes out of the tube. This is very good for being buildable. It can go from something that can be worn as a sheer finish to light medium coverage. I would give it that. I think that this feels so like smooth and velvety and thin. It goes on really, really nice with your fingers. In fact, that's how I would most recommend it, despite being someone who really, really likes applying things with sponge. That is by far my preference, and I usually don't like just the tactile feeling of applying things, of applying foundations with my fingers. I feel like it just can feel so gloopy and leave my fingers feeling really greasy, and like I have to spend so much time wiping things off after. But with this formula, it is so thin, it just kind of wants to sink itself into your skin right away. It just feels like a velvety, wonderful, lovely application experience when I go to tap it in with my fingers. I just go like this, and then it's almost done already. It is super, super skin-like in that it is not dewy. It's not dewy at all, and it's also not matte at all. It's just utterly imperceivable, and I love that. That's my favorite kind of finish, I would say. It doesn't do anything to dry out the skin. It, in fact, I feel like helps to, like my skin feels very sufficiently moist throughout the day. That being said, I do skincare underneath. So I've been wearing this for about 3 hours. I don't have any powder on, and I think it still looks great. My face still looks really, really fresh. I look luminous. I don't see any dry patches peeking out, and I feel like it maintains this state from the moment you apply it all the way up until, like, for me, probably at least the 5-hour mark. If it's a really like hot and sweaty day, maybe a little bit earlier, but at that point my oils start to break through and it starts to fade, but it looks great. Like, it looks great, and my oils do that with any product. Fades beautiful. It just wears so nice, and basically with this product, like, there's no point at which this looks makeup-y. There's no giveaway. Like, it never highlights my flakiness, it doesn't break up, and I just like how nicely it goes on. Oh, but that being said, I would not recommend applying this with a sponge because I feel like when I use a sponge, it just kind of soaks up all of the product. Shade range, not great. I think it's got maybe about 10 shades. I'll leave a link down below. I think I'm gonna have to get another shade to mix this with during the changing of the seasons, so that is super annoying, but I love the formula enough that it is worth it all. I really, really love how buildable it is, how easy it is to use, how well it wears. It's truly a standout product for me. If only the packaging and the shade range were up to par. The Neutrogena Sensitive Skin Foundation, I bought this, one, because I think it'd be perfect to compare against, and also I feel like recently Amanda Z mentioned it in one of her videos as being like a really good skin-like drugstore option, and I was like, oh, perfect, love that. And I also had just come off trying this one, and I thought, this is great. Well, what more am I missing from the drugstore? And this is just okay. It's very, very dewy. It's quite sheer. I'd say it ranges from sheer to like a sheer light coverage. I don't really like building this up. It is very, very glowy, dewy, and it does leave that like very moist feeling that you can like touch your fingers and feel the product like moisturizing your hand just from touching it. I definitely think it would transfer significantly, basically onto anything that it interacts with. And I noticed that one sheer layer, fine. I tried to build it up 2 to 3 layers to see how much it would build up, and by 2 layers I could notice that I had flakiness underneath all that moistness, which is pretty unusual for me. It's really only noticeable if I look really closely, but nevertheless I was kind of off put by that, because I feel like with these sorts of sheer dewy products, a lot of them do a good job of masking any flakiness. And this one, while I wouldn't say it's highlighted, I could see it. instead of having it be like blurred and moistened away. But despite that, I still had this very like shiny, glowy effect all over my face. Definitely feel like it's something that I would want to powder. This shade works pretty well for me, but I think overall this is just nothing special. It's good, but not great. And I think with everything that's out on the market right now, you really have to be great to stand out. For the price, I think it's a really, really good option of something that is sheer, dewy, glowy. I know that these are all like buzzwords right now, and this certainly can do it well. I think as opposed to this, I would be much, much more likely to recommend the MAC Face and Body, though that would probably come out to around at least twice as much that this costs. But that product, it's just got a much more malleable formula in terms of its buildability, and it doesn't pick up on any dryness at all, ever. In fact, it does a lot to blur and mask it away. I think that the MAC Face and Body is buildable. It's more of a light medium, maybe even a medium coverage. And it kind of, that product at least, it leaves a very glowy, glassy finish for me, but it also sinks in a little bit so that when I touch my face, it just feels moist, but doesn't really like leave any residue on my fingers when I pull it away. So I like how that feels a lot more, like it kind of sinks in, whereas this is something that kind of remains kind of dewy and movable feelings throughout the whole day. So between that feeling of like never really coming, not setting like a matte foundation, but settling into something that I feel like would stay put enough throughout the day, and the fact that I can sometimes see flaky bits peeking out when I really, really wouldn't expect it to, when I definitely have other products that don't do that at all. I don't think I'll reach for this too much in the future. That being said, it's not bad, and I think if you're someone who likes that glassy finish, could definitely be something that you like. Neither have any scent. I think it would both be suitable for sensitive skin, no SPF, so make sure to wear your sunscreen underneath. I think that pretty much wraps it up. They're both good, but I really love this one so much that it's like really easy for me to just kind of try this one out, notice there are things to nitpick with, and then just write it off as like, okay, well, it's not even the same realm, at least for me in my experience. So let me know about other fun things to try that you'd like to see, and yeah, that's that. If this was helpful, thanks for watching.